Okay, so this is the night sky, and we're here in North Trinidad and Tobago. This is my area, and as you can see, the skies are very much overcast. We have some rough weather bulletins for the next couple of days here. It is the last day of the third quarter of the month. It's the 30th of September. All right, and certainly we're not going to see any celestial objects tonight because of this very thick cloud cover. But that's all right, because in spite of all of that, what we are going to do is to have a look or really hone our skills as it relates.
Who had been saying that? Who said that? Who said that? Who said that? Who had been saying that?
We're going to be doing some editing tonight. Let's go to the computer and see what we can do. All right, join me. No sky watching tonight. Woo boy. There's one O'Neill. I'm a photographer and I love astrophotography, and I want to welcome you to my brand new channel, O'Neill Photography, Astrophotography. Okay, good afternoon or good morning, good night, everyone. This is Desmond O'Neill from O'Neill Photography here, and we've been having some seriously bad weather these past couple of days here in Trinidad and Tobago, and so I just took the opportunity to say, let me do a little tutorial, because when the weather is bad, don't look at it as, very terrible. I can't get my telescope out, I can't view the night sky or anything like that, but use every bad situation as an opportunity to develop your skills. So today what we're gonna do is to take a look at a tutorial on the moon. All right, for new photographers, I would suggest doing some work on the moon. It might seem as if it's not a good subject or anything like that, but trust me, the moon is quite interesting, and it's a stepping stone for planetary astrophotography, if I can say it like that. All right. So today I am working in the Linux environment. This is what I use. This is my operating system. I use Linux because it's completely free, and of course there are many advantages to using Linux and disadvantages as well, and you'll have to see if this can work for you. Right now, when I was searching around in Linux for a good planetary software, because you've got to understand, you cannot use normal stacking software if you are going to do pictures of the moon. And the reason why you can't do stacking software is because stacking software relies on star formations and the alignment of those star formations in order to stack your photos together. But with the moon is so bright, and most of the times we would crop that bright satellite so much in that there's only one item in the whole thing, and you will see that your stacking software is going to tell you that it's not recognizing anything at all. And just for an example, I'm going to try and use Cyril, which is one of the stacking softwares that I use. Alright, I'm going to use Cyril. I am going to go over to where I have my my moonshots. Alright, I have it aligned there, and it's here, moon illustration. I'm going to go there, and Cyril uses what you call scripts. So as you notice at the bottom here, I am in Astrophotography moon illustration 1. Alright, so everything that I do in Cyril, it's going to be in that folder. So I have in that folder, if I go across here, I have 10 shots that I got from the moon. Alright, astrophotography. Let me go in there, and I'm going to go into moon illustration there. Right, so here we are, 3, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, 11 shots that I have here. It's all in the raw format, and this is how my Sony camera delivers or renders the raw images in ARW format. Alright, so it has them there. Alright, and so if I go to scripts and I go to, I'm not using any flats or darks or biases, so I can use this one here, and if I click it, alright, it's saying here error in line 18, CD lights, script execution fail, and that's because it was looking for star patterns, and it did not see any star patterns in there at all. And the second thing is Cyril works with what is called fits files. So let's try and probably change and undo. Let's do some. All right, let me come out. Not come out here. Let me change. All right. So let's go and convert the files, because Cyril works in using fits. All right. So let's convert the files. So I will name it here my moon photos. All right. I will name it my moon photos. Let me add it in here. Okay. Alright, my moon photos, and let's convert it. Alright, so Cyril is converting the file, so let's see if it will convert my files for me. Alright, and here you see the photo of the moon that I was able to get. Let me bring it up a little bigger here so you can see. Alright, so that's the photo of the moon. Alright, so let me just get down there, and I'm going to go to scripts, and let's see if Cyril is going to recognize it now that I've put it into a format that it can read. So let's go DSLR. Right, so once again it has failed. Alright, and I did all of that just to show you that when you are working with planetary photos, photos of Mars, photos of Jupiter, photos of Saturn, and all the other planets, including the moon, all right, you will not be able to use a regular file stacker in order to get it. What you need to do is something called lucky imaging. Now, what lucky imaging is, it's taking a short video of your planet, whether it's Mars or Saturn, Jupiter, whatever, taking a small video, putting that into a program such as Registax also, and what it will do, it will cut that small file into many still videos and extract the best one and pile it together. Alright, but today I am going to be using a different software, one called Lincios. It's available in Mac, and it's also available in Linux. I think it's available in Windows as well. Alright, but I'm going to be using Lincios in order to process my my photos. So I'm going to come out of Cyril, which is a wonderful stacking software, by the way, and maybe somewhere later on we'll be able to see, we'll be able to take some star photos and use Cyril. All right, so here we are in Lincios. All right, and in Lincios, at first when I downloaded this program, I thought that something was wrong with my software. I honestly thought, because if I go to plus, right, and I go to moon illustration here, all right, you would notice that there are like question marks here, and if I and right, there are like question marks here. Now I'm trying to select them all. Okay, I'm trying to select them all here, and if I click OK, alright, they are selected, and if I try to stack them, you won't see anything going on there. That is because Lincios works not with fit files, but Lincios works with TIFF files. Alright, so it took me a while, and for those of you who downloaded the program and then you were frustrated and then you got rid of it and so on, this is just to let you know that Lincios does not work with fit files, neither JPEG files or RAW files. It works with TIFF files, TIF files. Alright, so what I do, let me come out of here. What I did, and I'm not going to save this, what I did is that I have Xncovert. Alright, and in Xncovert, what I'm going to do is to convert all of the raw files into TIFF files. Alright, and it does a wonderful job into batch convert. And so for those of you who are looking for a wonderful software to do batch conversions, Xncovert in Linux is an excellent software. So go to add files, and I'm going to go over to where I have my my moonshots. Okay, it's in backup here. Alright, and astrophotography here, and I'm going over to moon illustrations, and if you notice here, it has the raw files here, and of course it had the fit files that Cyril converted, but Lincios couldn't work with it. Alright, so we are going to select them here. Alright, I think I am in. Okay, let me add the folder instead, so that's much better. Add the folder. Alright, go over here, over here, over here, and go into moon. Right, great. So choose. So right, so if you notice, it's recognizing all of these here are the raw files. Alright, and so it's going to convert them over into TIFF files. So go for into output, and I have already have the file format here as TIFF. Alright, and it's going, I'm going to tell that to put it, I know I could put it into a different folder. In fact, let's put it into a different, we can make a different folder actually, but I'm going to put it into the source folder. Alright, I'm going to put it into the source folder, and let's click convert. Alright, and so we see that the program here is converting, alright, all of the photos into TIFF files, and it did that in just about 8 seconds, and there was one error because something I did inside of there, I don't know. Alright, and let's close that. So now that we have converted all of that, all of the raw photos into TIFF files that Lincios can read it, let's go back into Lincios here, and let's see what can happen. Alright, so we go to the plus sign here. This is where you add. Alright, and you notice here that it has the TIFF files. Alright, and I click OK. Right, so the TIFF files are located here. Right, all the TIFF files are located here, and so let's align them. In fact, you need to choose one. Okay, need to choose one, and I'll tell you why. Right. So when you are aligning, remember, these are still shots. These are still shots that I took of the moon. Now, if you notice, it's a bit sort of fuzzy. I'm not exactly sure why. It's sort of a fuzzy there, but I was able to take some still shots using my Sony A3000 camera, and as well as Vivita 300mm, and I used that together with a 2x converter. All right, and so that was able to bring me to 600mm, and with a crop factor of 1.5, I was able to get, I think that's 900, if my math serves me correct, 900mm, which gives you this nice detail here of the moon. Now it's sort of probably out of focus a little bit, all right, but you can still see some details here. So when we are stacking in Lincios, you need to establish a parameter. All right, so you don't want photos that are being stacked, being all outside there, otherwise your photos will look really weird. So that's why I drew this red line around, and all you do is to click on a spot. All right, let me see. Yeah, click on a spot and drag. Let's go back over here. Let me come back out. Don't save. Right, I'm gonna come back out here, start it all over again. All right, and I'm going to add, okay, my Tiff files. There we go. Right, add my Tiff files in. Okay, and I want to do an align, but I'm going to select one of the files. Alright, I'm going to just carry down the magnification a little bit. Alright, here we go. Right, and what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to left click, hold, and drag in order to create a little box around. Now I can shorten that box up a little bit, right, and then left click so that it's in the middle. Alright, so I have established a parameter which for Lincios to do its alignment. Now notice that the alignment button came alive when we did that. Alright, so now that we have all of these here, let's click align and see what we get. So it's doing its alignment thing. There we go. And so it did that quite swiftly, quickly. All of the results here are in green. So it has, that does is that it's telling me, okay, everything is aligned properly, and now I'm going over to the stack, right? Stack all of the selected and aligned images. I'm going over to stack them. Now analyze, I did not go into there because analyze is like going through and nitpicking, and we don't really have time to go through and nitpick which one, but the fact that all of these here would turn green is telling me that it's aligned properly. So let's go over into the stack section there. Alright, and I'm going to do the same thing by left clicking, putting a box around. I can crop that box in a little tighter. Yeah, that's gonna go to the, alright, crop that box in a little tighter. I'll go into the middle and make sure it's nice and tight. I can bring this down a little bit and bring this up a little bit. Yeah, make sure it's nice and tight. Alright, and notice again the stack button has come alive. So when we click stack, what it's going to do is going to stack all of these 10 photos together. What's the advantage of stacking? The advantage of stacking is that you are able to get rid of some noise within the photos. If you have done some photos with different exposures and so on, it's like doing a high definition or an HDR photo. If you know about doing HDRs, you do one photo that is light, one photo that is dark, and another photo of the regular exposure. And when you combine all three, what you have is that you have darks, you have lights, and you are able to make some nice photos in your favorite photo manipulation software, whether Photoshop or Gimp or Raw Therapy or whatever. Alright, so let's go to stack. The stack button has come alive when we drew in our parameters for Lincios to work in. We click stack, and there we go. Very quickly, we have our stacked image already. Alright, and this is what it looks like. We have our stacked image, right? And that was way fast. Now we can go in and do some pre-processing by going to like deconvolution, all right, and we can do some adjustments there and go into like sharpening and so on. All right, so you see it, like clicking the gain, we can sharpen it up, and you see it has sharpened up there somewhat. We can go in and sharpen and again a little bit. Let's see, there we go, and you can see that our photo has sharpened up there a little bit, but we're gonna leave it like that, and I'm going to save this picture, and I'm going to go over into Gimp, where we are going to do some more editing. All right, so we're going to save image, and I'm going to leave it as a Tiff, and I'm going to put here moon image stacked in Lincios, just to identify, because we have other Tiff files in there, but we want to identify the one that Lincios stacked together for us, and that we did some sharpening up. Notice that the one before was looking sort of fuzzy. Alright, so click OK, and it's going to save it as a 16-bit file. OK, and there we go, and that's all for Lincios for the moment. I don't want to save that because it's already saved in there, and just to check in to where we have our files, let's go into moon illustration here. Right, so here we are, the moon image stacked in Lincios. This is the one, all right, that we saved. Now if we were to just look at one of the single ones, let's look at this one. All right, you see how fuzzy it is there? All right, it's not as sharp, but in our stacked photo, if you look at it, it's even more sharp. Great. So let's open this up in Gimp. Open with Gimp, and we're going to do some final processing. All right, and so this is what we do whenever we can go outside and do any photography or imaging, astro imaging. Don't be distressed or depressed. You use the opportunity to gather your skills as it relates to photo processing. All right, so we are here in Gimp, and what we do in Gimp, notice it's a TIFF file. All right, and it's similar to RAW, just that some programs work better with TIFF files and some with FITS files. All right, but Gimp is able to read all of them, including RAW, if you have the correct, if you have the correct addition to the file. So the first thing that we do with any photo processing that you're doing, whether it's astro or regular photography, the first thing that you do when you're about to process is that you duplicate the file. So I go down here. You can also go up to image or layer, and you can go to duplicate layer, go to layer, sorry, not image but layer, and duplicate layer. And you can also right click, and you can also go to duplicate layer here. So all I did was to come down here, duplicate the layer, and we have an identical. If I take off this layer, put on that layer, because the eye is just letting you know when the eye is on, you are seeing this layer. If you close the eye, then you're not seeing the layer, but because it's the same thing, there's no change in the photo. So we're going to right click, and we're going to rename this, or not right click, we're going to double click. All right, and we're going to rename this one, what are we going to name it? Process. Alright, we're going to name it process 1, or you could name it anything you like. Alright, so I just named it process 1, and press the plus sign on your keyboard to enlarge the image a little bit, and you can press the minus, alright, as needed. So the first thing I like to do, I'm not going to do any more cropping. This has cropped right in, and you can see quite a amount of details in there. The first thing I like to do is go over into filters, alright, enhance, and you go into sharpen. When you click sharpen, right, the program has already begun to sharpen the image there for you, and you can preview before, and if you look at the histogram changes after, so it adds a slight bit of sharpening, but I'm going to sharpen it just a tad. Okay, and we click OK. Good. So right out of the box, we see our image, right, has a bit more detail. If you close the top level, which we are working out of, right, you see that there's a difference to our original image, but we're going to leave our original image there in case we make a boo-boo up here, and we can always go back and work on that original image there. Right, so now that we have sharpened the image somewhat, you see quite a bit more details on the surface of the moon. At this point, we have done basically everything, but a lot of people like to adjust the colors somewhat. So we're gonna just go in and adjust the colors, or we can probably do a bit of contrasting. How about that? All right, so to do some contrasting, you don't want to do much. You can go to curves, right, and the curves here actually shows you how the image is set up. These are the dark ends of the image on the extreme left, and on the right end as the bright ends of the image. And just to illustrate that for you, if I go to the top here and I increase, you're going to see the image get brighter, right? And if I come back down, you're going to see it get darker. All right, that's the bright point. If I go down to this end and I go to increase there, or decrease here, you're going to see the image gets a little bit darker, and that actually looks good. All right, so I'm going to darken this image a little bit. There we go. Probably put just a slight. Good. How does that look there? Great. And you can see our image before and our image after. It's a little bit darker, a bit more refined. All right. And the lens that I use isn't a top of the line lens. It's an f4 lens. I think f4, f5.6. Let me have a look here. Is it f4? I'm checking to see. Okay, it's 5.6. All right, so the widest that our 300mm lens was to open is 5.6, which is not too fast. It's a bit on the slower end as lenses are concerned, because I have lenses that go all the way down to 1.4. I didn't use the 1.4 because it doesn't have the zoom factor to give us this nice close-up detail. If I had 300mm at 1.4, that would have been super. Our moon would have been looking like a new place. All right. But so that tells us that we lack some details in there. But what we couldn't make up with the lens, our software was able to give us a bit more detail in there. All right. So go to colors again, and this time I want to go to brightness and contrast, and this will enhance. Now you don't want to do too much. You don't want to go overboard. Right now it's the taste, and you can do it as to what you can adjust the image how you would like. Keep an eye on our Instagram, our not Instagram, but our histogram over on this side here. All right, so I don't want to go too bright. I want to bring up the contrast a little bit. Not too much, otherwise you're going to get some sort of fringing around there, and we don't want our image to look superficial. All right, so let's drop that back a little bit. Probably drop the lightness down a little bit. Carry that up a little bit. My dogs are barking in the back. I don't know what they are seeing, but not my dogs, but the neighbor's dogs. All right, and have the contrast up. All right, now notice how the background looks. The background looks just completely black. All right, that's because we adjusted for the luminance of the moon. It was not even quite the full moon at the time, but notice that we are having quite a full experience here. In fact, the moon is going to be full probably later on. All right, so let's look at our before. Let's look at after, and we're going to toy around with some colors. All right, so let's go up to colors, color temperature. All right, let's have a look at the colors a little bit. All right, some reds are coming in there. Drop that back down a little bit. Original. Alright, so before, after, not much of a difference, but we'll work with that. Alright, let's go into saturation. Let's see if we can. Alright, just a little bit. Before, after. Alright, and if you can zoom out a little bit. Right, so our moon has taken on a different look. Some people have it like sort of bluish looking. I don't know if you like the blue moon look or if you like the sandish color. I like the sandish color. It's more natural to me. Some people have like the reddish and the orangish tinge to the moon. However it suits you, it's going to be fine. All right, so I think we're going to stay here. I probably might just go in a little bit and extract a slight bit more detail, but not too much. I don't want it to look busy. All right, so I'm going to go back into enhance again, go into sharpen. All right, and as you can see here, it has given us even more detail. All right, so just going to drop the threshold down a little bit. Just a little bit there, and our before, after, more detail. Before, little fuzzy, after, more detail. Right, if we zoom in a little bit, it looks slightly noisy, but when we post this on Instagram and we post it on Facebook, it would not look that noisy. In fact, it will look just right. All right, so that's my little tutorial on the moon. I hope that you were able to learn a little bit. Of course, I am a beginner, all right, and this tutorial is geared towards beginners as well, and it's just goes to show you that you can use free software to get where you need to get. You don't have to break the bank. I'm using Gimp, which is a free software available on all platforms. I use Lincios, which is another free software available on Mac. It's available on Linux as well. All right, free software. All right, and I also use Xncovert, which is another free software. So when you can't go out and do imaging in the night, when you can't look at the stars, when outside is all murky and cloudy and all of that, come into the studio and develop your skills, even if it's going back over a photograph that you did already. So this is my photo of the moon. I'm going to export this onto my desktop. So I go to File and Export As, right? Not Save As, because if you can go to Save as well, all right, but you won't get the file extension that you need. So I want to save it as a JPEG, so I go to Export As, right? Moon image stacked in Lincios, but I'm going to go here and say moon image processed in Gimp. Right, so just that we know we can distinguish our file, and you go down to select type here, you go down there and you go into JPEG image and you click and before we do that, we want to put it to the desktop. All right, so export, and it's asking me what quality I want. I want 100% quality. Export. There we go. Right, so let's minimize that, come out of this, and here we see our image that we process in Gimp, and our moon looks wonderful. All right, our moon looks absolutely fabulous, and of course you can upload this to your favorite social media area. If you want to put your signature to it as well, you could have done that in Gimp as well. I did not do that this time around, but this is just to show you our final photo. Alright, so I hope that you enjoyed this small tutorial. I hope that it was able to encourage somebody, and I hope that you learned something new as well. So this is Desmond O'Neill of O'Neill Photography with some astrophotography tutorial, and stay tuned, we have more coming in our channel. Alright, so have a good one everyone, be safe and clear skies.